Occupy camps in Nashville and San Diego broken up. Police arrest Occupy Nashville protesters early Friday near the state capitol. Police overnight cleared out protesters in Nashville, Tennessee and San Diego, California, as other Occupy encampments came under growing pressure from authorities to abandon sites in parks and plazas. In New York City, which could see its first snow on Saturday, the fire department confiscated 6 generators and about a dozen cans of fuel at the Occupy site in Zuccotti Park. The generators had been powering heat, computers, and a kitchen that activists set up 6 weeks ago. They think that taking the power away will take the power away, and that's absolutely not true at all, said Occupy Wall Street spokesman Michael Booth. New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg said the generators were confiscated because they were considered a safety hazard and it was not a bid to remove protesters. As long as they don't take away anybody else's rights to say what they want to say or to not say anything, to go about their business safely at the moment, it will continue, Bloomberg told local radio. In San Diego, police arrested 51 people as officers cleared out economic demonstrators who occupied the Civic Center Plaza and Children's Park for 3 weeks. Dozens of police officers and San Diego County Sheriff's deputies descended on the encampment around 2:30 a.m. Friday, declared an unlawful assembly, and removed tents, canopies, tables, and other furniture. Occupy Nashville protesters were returning to the Tennessee Legislative Plaza in front of the state capitol on Friday after being rousted from their campsite by state troopers earlier this morning. 29 protesters were taken into custody at shortly after 3 a.m. Some were dragged from the campsite they've occupied for about 3 weeks. Those arrested were taken to David County Night Court for booking, but were freed by Night Court Commissioner Thomas Nelson. You have no lawful basis to arrest and charge those people, Nelson said to the state troopers. For 3 weeks they've sat up there and protested under no admonition whatsoever that they were violating state policy regarding camping out on Legislative Plaza or that they were committing a crime. He said he understood that the state had changed its policy on Thursday, but they, the protesters, have to be given the opportunity to comply with those rules. The action, a line of 75 troopers, swept through the camp after giving a 10-minute warning, came less than a day after the state's Department of General Services said the plaza and other public areas nearby would be subject to a curfew with no occupation between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Protesters had asked the state on Wednesday for more help with security. There has been some theft from tents as well as reports of marijuana being sold and lewd behavior in the area. Occupy Nashville protesters blame those incidents on a homeless population that has joined them on the plaza because of the availability of free blankets and food. The demonstrators face charges of criminal trespassing November 18 in General Session Court. Safety and Homeland Security Commissioner Bill Gibbons defended the sweep, saying troopers took the appropriate action. The process was handled by state troopers in a professional manner and without incident, he said in a statement to the press. It is our responsibility to keep the protesters safe on state property, along with citizens who work, live, and enjoy downtown. We all must work together to ensure a safe environment. He said the early hour for the raid was chosen because it would be least disruptive for those who work, visit, and live downtown. Protesters plan a rally Friday evening. Other developments elsewhere across the United States. Protesters at San Francisco Justin Herman Plaza braced for a police raid early Thursday that never came. Still, police have warned the protesters that they could be arrested on a variety of sanitation or illegal camping violations. Officials told protesters in Providence, Rhode Island, that they were violating multiple city laws by camping overnight at a park. Anti-Wall Street protesters camped out in downtown Los Angeles said their planning to continue their demonstration indefinitely, although both they and the mayor's office were eyeing alternative sites. In Oakland, California, a crowd of at least 1,000 people, many holding candles, gathered Thursday night in honor of 24-year-old Scott Olson, who was hospitalized with a fractured skull after a clash with police. Many in the crowd shooed away Oakland Mayor Jean Quan, who retreated back into City Hall after trying to address them during a tense late-night appearance. She apologized to Olson during a hospital visit earlier Thursday. I am deeply saddened about the outcome on Tuesday. It was not what anybody hoped for. Ultimately, it was my responsibility, and I apologize for what happened, Kwan said in a written statement to protesters late Thursday. I cannot change the past, but I want to work with you to ensure that this remains peaceful moving forward. Protesters also held a vigil for Olson in Las Vegas, which drew a handful of police officers. Afterward, protesters invited them back for a potluck dinner. We renewed our vow of nonviolence, organizer Sebring Frainer said. The Marine veteran who won medals in Iraq has become a rallying cry for the Occupy Wall Street demonstrators across the nation, with Twitter users and protest websites declaring, "We are all Scott Olson." Joshua Shepard, 27, a Navy veteran who was standing nearby when Olson got struck, called it a cruel irony that Olson is fighting an injury in the country that he fought to protect. Despite the financial underpinning of the protests, Olson himself wasn't taking part out of economic need. His friends say he makes a good living at a network as a network engineer and has a nice apartment overlooking San Francisco Bay. Still, he felt so strongly about economic inequality in the United States that he fought for overseas that he slept at a protest camp after work. He felt you shouldn't wait until something is affecting you to get out and do something about it, said friend and roommate Keith Shannon, who served with Olson in Iraq. It was that feeling that drew him to Oakland on Tuesday night when the clashes broke out and Olson's skull was fractured. Fellow veterans said Olson was struck in the head by a projectile fired by police, although the exact object and who might have been responsible for the injury have not been definitively established. Officials are investigating exactly where the projectile came from. Even as the vigil was held in Oakland, protest organizers prepared to defy Oakland's prohibition on overnight camping on the now patchy, manure-smelling lawn outside City Hall. And it goes on, so I'll just leave the link because it's pretty long. I guess that's what's happening on Occupy Wall Street. Thanks.